This lesson is about block quote and quotations and quotation marks in general. Open your examples folder and open the text folder within that. Find the quotes.html file and load it on up in your text editor and in your browser. There is the browser. Now, let's take a look at the source code and notice the block quote element here. And notice that the text within that is indented both left and right in the browser window. And just to see the right indentation there, you can see that it never quite gets all the way up. You notice that this one gets up that far to the margin and that one doesn't. Over the years, because it was such an easy way to indent text, many websites have used the block quote element simply to indent text, not because what's in the block is a quotation. And so that behavior has become very common. All the browsers render the text that way, and people continue to use it. And the strict constructionists of the HTML world continue to be annoyed by it. In the future, style sheets will probably provide a mechanism for adding quotation marks around the quote. But again, since it's mostly just used for indenting, it's probably best to create a separate style for actual block quotes and render them using that. So one could say that because of the repurposing of the block quote element to be indent, that it's almost lost its usefulness for what it was originally intended to be. In a related subject, there's the new Q element, which is new as of HTML4 and is also part of XHTML1, which can be used to insert what they call language-appropriate quotation marks. And as an example, we'll use this piece of text here, and here it has regular quotation marks just typed in, and I say regular because I'm an American, and those are regular quotation marks to me, whereas if you were English, they might be the single quote variety. And so as a result, they've designed the Q element, which I'll insert here, which are supposed to render quotation marks appropriate to the location where the browser is or where the document is specified. So, for example, here is the quotes. And as we've already learned in another lesson, those types of quotes do not work in Internet Explorer. As you can see there, it simply doesn't support it as of this version of Internet Explorer. Now, what you're supposed to be able to do with this is to be able to say lang equals, say, FR, and get French quotation marks. And that is not yet supported in this browser, and I have not yet seen a browser where that is supported. Likewise, if you say lang equals EN-US, which means US English as opposed to Great Britain English, and you have a whole other set of them, you're supposed to get nested quotation marks, which would be single quotes on the inside. And, of course, that's not really working there either. Oops, I had an extra quotation mark there, didn't I? So, as nice as the concept is, it's just really not working yet with the Q elements. Another interesting way to get quote marks is to use entities. The original entity for the quote marks is QUOT, and that'll give you just those normal vertical quote marks, or what I call inch marks. To get the real nice curly quotes, you can say LDQUO and RDQUO, and you get the nice left and right double quotes. Or if you want them the single way, you say LSQUO and RSQUO, and you get the nice single quotes. And those are more like the kind of quotation marks you would expect from something typewritten or something through word processor. Be aware that if you use a word processor to generate curly quotes, and it inserts the curly quotes in your document and you find a way to get it up on the web without all of the other garbage that a word processor puts in, or if you use your word processor to generate HTML, Oftentimes it'll put in quote marks that look just fine on your computer, but do not look right on the computer of somebody else, perhaps a slightly different character set or a different operating system. So it's always a good idea to use the entities for the quote marks or to use just the regular quotes, but not the curly quotes, because these straight quotes are very portable because they're part of the basic original ASCII code set. So that's all there is about quote marks.